Hello, and welcome to this overview of the Savant Audio IM90 Multi-Effects plugin. The IM90 plugin is the first authentic emulation of one of the most revered French multi-effects processors from the 1980s. This iconic hardware unit shaped the sounds of countless artists from Prince to Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk. Let's get you up and running by taking a look at the core functions and layout of the plugin. The plugin captures the main functions of the original hardware with sections for delay and echo, pitch shifting, time compression and expansion, and reverb. As you can see, the pitch shifter is common to both the delay edit mode and the time edit mode. The IM90 plugin allows you to freely combine all of these individual modules to create new creative multi-effects. Before we take a look at the individual functions, a quick note on routing and setting up the plugin. In most cases, you will probably want to configure the IM90 as a send, similar to the original hardware. In certain applications, such as creative micro-pitch shifting, you might wish to use the plugin as an insert. Clicking on the mixer icon next to audio levels calls up the mix panel, where you can configure wet and dry levels for the overall plugin. The IM90 is a dual-channel stereo plugin throughout its operation. Channel link controls are available in the various edit modes to link the parameters or operate independently. Let's take a look at the delay function by calling up the default state from the System Preset menu. The IM90 offers its own take on many classic vintage delay features, including vibrato modulation with an extremely wide depth range. The delay can be operated with over 20 seconds of delay per channel and feedback options for discrete or crossfade delay. A micro zoom function allows increased control when operating the delay on a flange, for example. A unique algorithm allows the delay to be continuously variable without artifacts. Here's a great example of what it can do. Unique to the IM90, feedback equalization controls allow for low cut or high cut of frequencies in the feedback paths. In the delay level section, we can set the overall send level sent to the reverb, as well as adjusting the overall delay levels. Note that there's an option on the reverb send to send in a configuration of summed mono or discrete left and right channels. Please check out the manual for a more detailed explanation of some of the implications and benefits of choosing either option here. And finally, the delay clock allows us to toggle between time-based delay and musical values that are synced to your host. Of course, all of this becomes way more interesting once we introduce the pitch shifter. The pitch shifting module allows us to adjust pitch within a range of 2 octaves below and 1 octave above unison pitch. Similar to the original hardware, the pitch shifter operates in units of pitch ratio. Of course, you can also adjust the pitch shifter in units of musical semitones, or use the fine adjust controls to aid in micro pitch shifting effects. The channel synchronization controls can be used to operate the pitch shifter channels independently, synchronized, or inversely. Inverse mode is incredibly useful for dialing in one of the iconic micro pitch shifting effects that the unit is known for. Let's check it out.
Some loving and the loving guy and I'll be there. Yes,
Of course, some of the most exciting creative effects really start to reveal themselves when we start to combine the pitch shifter with the delay. Check out this octave doubling example. Or beautiful shimmer effects a la Brian Eno. You might notice that even with identical pitch settings, the left and right channels are not phase coherent. This is because on the original hardware, the phase analysis computers for the left and right channels were not synchronized. And of course, this is also what gives it some of its iconic larger-than-life sound. If you do desire phase-synced operation, you can simply turn this on in settings. The pitch-shifting algorithms used by the IM90 were incredibly advanced for their time and still remain incredibly effective today. It's important to remember that some of the artifacts or glitches of the algorithm are actually what gives it its beautiful charm and character. I strongly encourage you to check out the manual for a more detailed description of the various algorithms available in settings, as well as their implications and effects on the overall sound. The IM90 offers an incredibly unique take on many of the time, expansion, and compression features of the original hardware by focusing on real-time techniques that complement the workflow of your DAW. This may well be one of the most complex modules of the IM90 to initially wrap your head around, but once you have a feel for its operation, the creative possibilities are incredibly rewarding and useful. Let's take a quick listen. We can think of the range parameter as the maximum amount of time that audio is allowed to drift from its real-time position. Let's listen to an example of a percussion double tracking application. Here, a nice double tracking effect is created by allowing the left channel to drift around 10 milliseconds, while the right channel is allowed to drift 33 milliseconds before returning to its start position. As you can see, the LED screen displays the real-time positions of the left and right channels during their range excursions. The change rate controls the overall curve of the expansion and compression rates. Higher change rates can be used for more natural transitions between the expansion and compression phases. And here we set the time expansion and compression rates. Note that once we turn the compression rate past 4 times, it displays infinite. The time will immediately reset to its start position. For other applications that don't involve double tracking, explore increasing the range to values closer to 5 seconds. When S-Link is engaged, the speed of the time compression and expansion module is linked to the pitch shifter, which allows it to operate much like a magnetic tape machine. Of course, this has the advantage also of greatly reducing any pitch shifting artifacts. The time expansion reset detection module allows an easy way to synchronize time expansion with events in your DAW. There are 2 ways to trigger resets of the processor. With manual mode selected, you can simply click on the reset button to start the expansion process. You can also trigger this with various MIDI commands, which you can reference in the manual. When automatic mode is selected, the processor responds to overall threshold and duration levels as set by these parameters. This allows for the expansion method to easily be reset at the onset of a new musical phrase or musical note. Check out this reverb preset that uses automatic time expansion triggered by the onset of audio events.
I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight, I need you.
Or this glitchy delay throw created by rapid reset detections.
You, moonlight, you're my starlight, I need you. All night, come on, dance with me.
And finally, let's check out the Reverb Module. This is actually one of my favorite all-time reverbs, as the algorithm topology combines aspects of classic 1980s room simulator algorithms with less clinical and lush effects. Let's take a listen. Note that the Reverb module actually has its own preset menu consisting of 52 original hardware effects. These range from incredibly small spaces such as cask or bathroom, to medium-sized spaces such as small room or large room, to large spaces such as churches or cathedrals, and the iconic sound order. The room size parameter offers 13 size algorithms that adjust the overall gross volume of the space and therefore influence the overall resonance distribution, much like a room simulator. Decay time allows reverbs ranging from 0.1 seconds all the way to 200 seconds, but note that there are some limits based on the room size selected. The treble and bass decay controls allow for real-time absorption characteristics of spaces. The reverb actually uses an incredibly complex algorithm to change these parameters in a real-time, non-linear way. On the right side of the module, we have controls for direct input to the reverb, that is the dry input, as well as the delay input from the delay module. Remember that this is controlled from the reverb send level in the delay module. And finally, the Prereflections module is incredibly useful at creating discrete early reflections that bridge the sound between the dry source and the reverb tail. These 4 early reflections can be freely adjusted in delay and level. And note that, like the hardware, the 4th reflection also acts as the pre-delay for the overall reverb. Thank you so much for checking out the IM90, and we certainly hope that it fuels your creativity and inspires new ideas.